Okay, that was quick. Oop, shit.
Okay.
Are we allowed to say that, Mary?
No, we are
So
not.
what's going on?
Ignore that. Ignore that.
Okay.
I X'd you out instead of the
I saw that. That's all right.
You didn't hear what she was saying about you earlier. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Okay, so welcome to another episode of Book Club with Mary, Denise, and Sacheen. All right. And so the book we're going to discuss. Hey, Sacheen, you have it. Hold it up.
Oh, I do.
It's More Than Enough by Elaine Welteroth. Okay. So I got to give Denise really credit because she'll go to me, hey, read this book. And I'm like, turns out to be a really good book. I had my qualms about that. So who wants to start first?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I will. I ended up.
So you're going first.
I can do it. No, it actually drew me. The reason why I picked this one was because I watched a master class. Mary, we had talked about having that whole that membership and stuff like that, and she had a master class on there, and I was really impressed with her story and with the way she carried herself, and she talked and spoke, and I was just drawn to it. So I knew she had a book, and that's sort of what intrigued me about reading it.
Okay. What was the takeaway for you for the book?
I loved that it went through, she didn't have to go through and tell her whole entire story and be showy, right? Like it wasn't like a whole, this is me, this is me, this is everything I did. She gave bits and pieces of very pivotal points in her life and in her career that she learned from. So I loved hearing what the story was and then taking away or reading what she took away from that. And it was very uplifting for me to know that through these trials that we may have, or these hard times and stuff, or when things aren't seeming like they're going the right way, that how you can make your own destiny is really what it was. Like if you have the will and you have the grit and you have that drive, you can make it happen.
Okay. Okay. The reason that I took an interest in the book was maybe not so much about Elaine, but about Elaine's parents. Because I realized that Elaine was the same age of my own kids. So Elaine has a Black mother and a white father.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids have a white mother and a Spanish father. And so, and we were married in and around the same time, had kids in and around the same time. So that same generational, I'm going to say nonsense that went on, I was there for that as well too. To the point that after I read the book, I sat my kids down and I asked them, what was it like going to school? Because I know when my kids were in school in Middletown, New York, I had to pull them out of the school because the staff was so overtly racist. It was ridiculous. Okay. So I had to pull them out and put them into a Catholic school. And I really had issue with doing that. Okay. First of all, paying for public education when my tax dollars are supposed to be going for this. Okay. But as I sat down with the nun, the head nun for the Catholic school, you'll enjoy this, Sacheen. She was the nun that I grew up with in Yonkers, New York.
Gosh.
So we had a history. They weren't taking new kids into school. They were full, but they took my 3 kids in. All right. And so for that, I was grateful for. And they had him. There was none of that nonsense in that school as it was in a school. So I understood that. And then we moved to Connecticut, and I specifically chose Danbury as opposed to the other surrounding towns because Danbury was the largest high school in the state. It would has everything. If it's a nationality, it's there. If it's a sexual orientation, it was well represented there. I wanted my kids in real life.
Mhm.
So I sat my kids down after reading the book and I had asked them, did they have any problems in school? And they had zero problems when they were in Danbury.
Mm. Interesting.
So school district does matter.
Mhm.
School district does matter.
Right. So I guess my takeaway from the book had been um, there's a problem, there's a solution for it.
Mm.
Sometimes you got to look for the solution, and sometimes the solution isn't free either.
Mm.
Okay. But there is a solution to whatever problem that you have. So it's just taking the time to look for it. Now, Sacheen, what did you think of the book?
The book made me tired.
Okay.
Um, Elaine's story is not unique in my world of high achieving women of color. Her beginning is not unique. Black culture is full of interracial relationships. And so as I'm reading her story through the lens of her experiences, it is the thread of always having to prove you belong. And so as I was reading through it, I was just like, oh, there's a reason that that reading memoirs are hard, right? Because it's the lived experience and reflection of the person. And usually we're removed from that person by history, time period, whatever the case may be. But I'm not removed from her. And so it felt more present. The struggles of being who she is in the world felt much more present because my trajectory through PhD, through academia, through my working corporate life, like I can see a lot of the things that she went through. In fact, there was at one point she talks about how her friend Holly left, and and one of the reasons why she left is because she got tired of bucking against the skinny, pretty white girl privilege thing. Like that was constantly there for her. So I agree with both of your takes. I think there's a lot of great things that she writes about. But at the end of the day, as I got through to the end of it, I was like, gosh, always having to prove yourself, always having to find that solution, always having to do a lot of unpaid labor, a lot of unpaid emotional labor just to
Yeah.
make it through the gate. So I was a little tired after I got done reading it,
Okay. Um,
which is not a bad thing, but
well, this is why I like the three of us here because I
Mhm.
think the three of us here have very different life experiences. And so to listen to a book that we've read, and the different things we got out of it.
yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, all right. If you got to meet Elaine in person,
Ooh.
what
Okay.
would what would you say to her?
Oh wow.
I personally, mine's a little bit different. So, like, I would say thank you. Thank you
Mm,
for sharing and just putting memoirs are a vulnerable place to put yourself,
yes,
right?
they really are.
So, just thanking someone for putting their world out on, I mean, you can either like it or not. And that's a very, just thank you for putting that out there for us to read and to be able to have some sort of parallel with one way or another.
Okay. I like the fact, and I would tell her that she was so inclusive of her parents
Mm,
Hmm.
that I really enjoyed
yeah.
hearing her mom and her dad,
Hmm.
things that were going on at the same time that was reflected in their life. So her upbringing from very human parents.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it made me feel a whole lot better because I was very young when I got married, and very young when I had kids. And I know there was a lot of mistakes made,
Mm-hmm.
but listening to her story, how she turned out. So I really appreciate it. And I would tell us that the fact that she included her parents in her life story was really, I'm not going to say unique, but I appreciated that perspective of her book.
I agree.
The
I agree
way
with
she
that.
incorporated that and the way that she handled the whole thing, like it was, they were living their lives and doing their thing, and there was no fault to that,
Yeah.
Right.
right? Like this is
Right.
what they were doing. This was the best that they could do. This was, so there was no blame, no
There was no
nothing.
blame. Right.
Correct. No blame in that. And
Yeah.
that this was just the way it was.
Yeah.
Very neutral. Very neutral.
I think I would say to her, even though it's lonely at the top and she understands firsthand what that feels like, it's still so gratifying to be first in an area where there's never been another, and to thank her for that, for sharing that experience. Because as women, we know that when we are introduced into a male field, to be the very first one in that space brings with it not only all of the stuff that you're going to go through just by virtue of being a woman in that space, but also there's this moment where you realize I broke through. Like I made it here so that eventually somebody else is going to come up behind me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to do this. And so there's this feeling of elation, and I appreciate that as she's talking about being the first at so many things in the book, that there's also this, there's the weight of it all, but there's also the I got here. I did this.
Hmm.
And I love that feeling for her. And I think I would say to her, thank you for sharing that. Because sometimes I think we forget, because we everything historical, that we forget in the moment somebody was just really excited to get the job.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I think one of the things too is, going back to her parents. So interracial couple married at a time where that was not normal, and a couple of years prior was not legal.
Correct.
Hmm.
So I got married in 1980,
Mm-hmm.
and did not even I did not even realize at the time that a couple of years before that we couldn't have gotten married.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Right, because Loving v. what Virginia,
It was 1970 something.
1977, I think. 76 or 77.
Yeah. And so we were married 4 years later,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was, and didn't think anything of it. So there's a lot of times that when somebody breaks through something,
Mm-hmm.
you don't realize it. And sometimes you see the generation that's there now not appreciating it.
That is also correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's why I said her growing up experiences, the interracial intersections weren't abnormal, because though couples couldn't marry, they were still present. And more often than not, if you crossed the racial barrier between black and white, you ended up living in the black community,
Yeah.
because that's where you would find the most acceptance and safety.
Yeah.
And so even though you weren't married, you were still a couple. You just still built a
Hmm.
life together, and you were probably doing it surrounded by other black people or other interracial couples, because that's where you would have felt the most safe and accepted before you could legally marry.
Now, in the Spanish community, his mother made things just a little bit difficult for us. So I'm not sure if that was Spanish mom, Spanish son,
Mm-hmm.
that was the dynamic there,
Mm-hmm.
or what. But um, I was not 100% welcomed into the family.
My son is biracial. His father is white. I am obviously Black American, and his mother did not accept me at all. And this was only a decade. My son's going to be a teenager, 13 in December. So this was literally just 13 years ago.
Yeah. So the book was good. And it's something
It's good.
I do recommend the book. So you'll find we are going to be really honest in this book club with books we recommend and books we don't recommend. Um, I recommend the book. So we got to have like some sort of rating system. There's three of us.
We should have some kind of rating system, because I would say
Yeah.
I would recommend with a caveat.
Okay. What's your caveat?
Okay.
I would say I recommend it. I think it's an interesting read as a memoir. I think as women of color, I would take your time because I think you're going to get tired, not because it's not a good story, but because it feels very personal to your experience. You're going to find yourself in the pages and go, still, like, still, like, really, we're still having to contend with these like, you're going to see yourself there. So pace yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna
It,
agree with that because there is, I mean, women in general just simply have a harder time,
exactly.
but Black women?
Hmm.
Hmm.
And the children of mixed race couples, like that, for really for them, I would say pace yourself because you're going to go, well, yeah. In your home, you are 100% Black, but to the world, you may not be. And that is a dynamic you have to navigate through every day of your life as a mother of a mixed race child. Mary, as the mother of mixed race children.
Yes. All right.
So
I
recommended.
always enjoy though reading these things and knowing. So I'm going to come at it from a little bit of a, I don't want to say younger angle, but I am a different generation, right? Like, so to know that, and even anyone watching this who could be obviously younger in the newer generations, it wasn't that long ago. Like
Right.
listening to Mary talk, like she got married in 1980. I was born in 79. To know that it was only a few years before that, right? Or to know that even in this day and age, Elaine is still younger and still having to go
Yeah.
through all this stuff. It very much is eye opening. There's another really good book I love. It's called Selfless. It's a very hard read. It
Mm-hmm.
is not an easy read. It's very in depth, and it goes through a lot of those things that we just don't think about.
Yes.
And how just environmental and how everything, just the world, how the
Mm-hmm.
world shapes us, and that it isn't as forward as we think it is, and it hasn't been that long. Like it
Yeah.
hasn't been that long. It's
Yeah.
crazy to think in my lifetime, right? Like all these things are right before my lifetime. And it's the same thing she's having to go through now. So I take empathy in all of, like, I very empathetic feeling to, I take that on, like, holy crap, to still have to go through that this day and age and to know it
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago is just mind boggling.
Yes. Okay. So not to date ourselves, and I'm the oldest of the three here. Okay. So my guidance counselor, all right, gave
Mm-hmm.
me like three options when he was discussing my future. I could be a teacher, I could be a nurse, or I could be a housewife.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we've come a long way. Sometimes we hit roadblocks, but just remember somebody before us pushed through it.
Right.
And if we have to, we can push through it again.
Yes. I
Mhm.
just I just caution people to remember as we're reading someone's lived experience as a memoir that so much of what we like to focus on is the pushing through. And I want us to remember that there was joy in the moment
Yeah.
of the push through. Like when you're the first in a space and you recognize that, oh my gosh, I'm going to make history here, but I'm just this little person. I'm just this young woman who all of a sudden is the editor in chief, right? Like
Right.
me, little old me got this job. And yes, it's historical, but so often women are focused on the history that we're making that we don't get to enjoy the moment that we made. Like we got here and we
Yeah.
did it. And so yeah, I think it's awesome to read a memoir of someone that's so close to us because it's not someone who's been gone 100 years, right? She's right here.
Mhm. Right.
So I really appreciated that.
And still going, like,
And still
and not
going,
even,
right.
and still going, like, who even knows what else she's going to accomplish?
Right.
It's just the very beginning of
Yeah.
her career and what impact she's going to have, let alone what it's going to be in the next
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. So I think we have to talk about our rating system. So
Okay.
how about our rating system would be open books. So we got like three open books. Three, it's an open book. All right, and the
Okay.
closed book would be we don't recommend it.
like that
Did
book
you
was.
just pull this up now, or have you been thinking
Yes.
about this?
No, this I just pulled this up right now. So now I gotta make, like, little graphics and
Now
stuff
you
like
got to make a graph. Yep.
so when I upload this to the podcast, I'll have, like, the little, like, either well, we're gonna have 3 open books, but with a caveat.
Half book, half open, page
Uh,
out, open with the page out. I don't know.
alright, we'll still think on that.
We'll have to
Or
think on it.
well, yeah. Figure that part out.
Open with a
You got
foot.
that, Mary.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Core, thank you very much for the comment. We appreciate it.
Oh, we have
Yes,
comments.
we got a comment.
Do we
So
have a comment? Where are we at? I don't see the chat.
Oh, we do have comments.
Oh,
from
there it is.
YouTube.
Okay.
Alright, so,
Oh,
next week
I don't see that.
we will be back next week.
Mhm.
We're gonna do something fun next week. Okay? Because we're gonna rate 3 different cozy mysteries. You read your book, right,
I
Denise?
did.
I'm making it through mine. I'm making it through. Remember, I don't listen to my books. I read my books
I
when
read.
my time is in the morning.
Oh,
I
no,
So
read.
okay, good.
I
You
read.
read? Okay,
Yep.
good.
No,
So yeah.
I read.
Yeah.
Me and this book spent a lot of time walking around the house doing other things together.
Doing the thing.
Okay, so no. I'm the audible girl here. All right, so we will see everybody next week.